Welcome back to the channel. On my road to 100, I've played games, I've had coaching sessions, and I'm having another coaching session today. And I'm joined by, well, the bloke who I've commentated with at Northants for the last, year now? Year and a half?
Feels a lot longer.
It does, doesn't it? Sorry about that. I've got Phil Rowe with me. Those of you that don't know who Phil Rowe is, former assistant coach here at the Northants Steelbacks and the County Cricket Club, academy pathway coach, lead coach, bowling coach. Any other hats that you have on there?
Very good tea maker.
Tea maker. Okay,
Very good tea maker.
Not a bad shout.
Yeah.
We'll have one of those afterwards. And as well, I think probably a really good opportunity just to drop some of the names that you would have worked with during your time as well. Some of the favourite players that you would have worked with, some of the bigger names that people would recognise.
Well, everyone who's been through Northants over the last 15 plus years would be amongst those people. I mean, favourite players that I've worked with have been the most fun players, really. I like to have a bit of fun. I think that's important. I think Jack Brooks would be right up there, very early in my time. And then bring it up to date, really, a guy who's now also in coaching, Rory Kleinveld, who's now doing what I tried to do, help the bowlers out a little bit. He's got a specific role with that, whereas mine was a bit broader. We didn't have as much money in those days, Dan, and we covered a few bases. But Rory Kleinveld, just a really good guy, sort of honorary Steelback for life. Yeah. And my style often would be keep out of the way of progress, really.
Yeah, okay.
You know, throw some balls, hit some balls to them, keep quiet and try and do your best to support their journey. But it's been an absolute privilege to work with each and every one of them, to be honest. I wouldn't want to single any name out.
No, fantastic. Well, Ben Duckett, Dave Willey, they would have been players that would have come through that pathway as well. There's a few levels between those four specifics that we've just spoken about and me. There may be, I reckon about 15 if you counted all the way down to Division 7 in West Sussex. But we've spoken, and I've said to you about this. I've never scored 100 in any type of cricket before, and it's something that I think I would love to do, and I think most people would love to do it, right? Regardless of the level that you play, I think it's such a huge achievement, and I feel like I'm getting better and better each year that I play. The problem is I'm getting a bit older, which is
And you're a late starter.
Yeah, late starter. So 2008, I probably started playing consistent cricket, by which point I would have been getting on towards 19, 20.
Oh, that's late. Okay.
And so probably the last 3 years have been the ones where I felt the most confident actually as a cricketer, which would probably put me at about 14, 15 years old as a cricket person, I guess.
Okay, cool. So we're going to have a cricket session, aren't we?
Yeah, that's the plan.
You know, before diving into that and hitting some balls and having a look and doing all those good coachy things, I thought it might be helpful to me, probably not to you, to get to know you as a cricketer a little bit. Let's talk about that ambition. So you started on this journey, yes, I guess to create some good content.
Pretty much, yeah.
But also with this aim in mind of getting 100. Yeah. Let me ask you a question about that. How many balls will it take you to get to 100? I mean, that's very much a variable, but in general, knowing the level you play at and so on?
I think my highest score in club cricket is about 67, so still a third of the way from where I need to be.
It's about a very specific 67.
Yeah, about a very specific 67. But I would guess somewhere between 80 and 90, somewhere around there.
For the 67?
For the 100, I think. I think somewhere around there.
If I said to you, I'm going to give you 50 balls, you're probably thinking, it's going to be a bit of a stretch. If I said I'm going to give you 120 balls on average, you're going to bat, whatever happens, you can't get out. You're going to bat for 120 balls. You think, plus or minus, I'm going to get 100.
I'd hope I'd be there or thereabouts. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's work a working assumption then. Let's say 120 to give you a bit of. So you're going to need to bat for 120 balls. Okay. So why haven't you batted for 120 balls before?
I would say concentration would be the bigger part of that.
Concentration. Okay.
This might shock a lot of people, but I think I'd be in the vast majority of club cricketers. I'd be very, very average. And I've seen players that are marginally better than me score hundreds, and I've seen players that are marginally worse than me score, in my opinion, score hundreds. But I think the difference is the fact that they've got that ability just to concentrate for that prolonged period of time, and at the moment I haven't got that.
Okay. I think that goes through all levels, to be honest with you. I think concentration is probably an underrated capability, but it is a skill and you can train it. We've only got one session together, and I'm very keen, if at all possible, sound setting myself up here for sure, but I am keen that when we finish the cricket element of this and the whole of this, that you think, oh, okay, I've ticked that problem off, or I've got a thought about how I might solve that problem, rather than just, I had a session, it was pleasant, Phil was nice, and he moved me closer to the MCC coaching manual and I got my elbow in a better position.
Yeah, sure.
Ooh, yeah, great, crack on. Good luck with that and getting your 100. So in terms of problems, as a batter, what are your main problems, do you think, other than concentration?
Yeah, I think scoring through the offside is tough for me. I think a lot of that is down to the fact and I had a session with Tom Scollay from Cricket Mentoring, which has gone out by the time this goes out, and basically highlighted the fact that my front foot basically plonks straight down the middle of the wicket. Okay. That's my movement, which makes kind of there okay, but actually offside, cover, point, etc. All I can play through there is with my hands. I have no kind of body movement to go through there, so my body weight doesn't transfer through the offside particularly well. So court cover is a favourite dismissal, because the hand-eye coordination is good enough, but the actual transfer of body weight through that shot isn't, and therefore there's no kind of power to go through it. Okay. And then, as you can imagine, there's a fairly large kind of front pad stood in the middle of middle stump, and there's an LBW candidate to go in, which is something that we again spoke about with Tom, and kind of spoke about just that full face of the bat the whole time, which is something I've taken away from that session and gone to myself, if I play with a full face of the bat, I've got more chance of being successful here, or at least getting some bat on it. Okay. Which I found really helpful to take away.
When you're at your best, what are you thinking about?
Not a lot, really. I think when I've played my best innings, and they've been short, and they've been T20 innings, but they've been ones where I've walked out there with nothing really in my mind other than where am I going to put this cricket ball? Okay. And that's literally been it. Yeah. And I've had a couple of bits of success, and similar the game here that I played in Rob Keogh's game. Yep. Obviously Rob walked out, and there's a clip in the video, and it kind of said, look, with 3 overs to go, we've got Alex Wakely, Richard Levy, Procky to go. Doesn't really matter. So at that point there, I've kind of gone, oh, happy days, that's freed me up. So I think that's probably where I've played my best cricket.
That's really, really interesting. You used a phrase in there, freed me up. And that's quite an interesting form of words, isn't it? Yeah. Because we've got freedom in there. We generally do our best when we're free and we're relaxed and we're just responding, not overthinking. But also freed me up, freed you up from yourself, right?
Yes, yeah.
So no one's got a gun to your head apart from you.
Yeah, true.
So there's something in your approach to batting that might be useful to try and explore a little bit as we go as well.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, okay. Well, that's been really helpful to me to get to know you as a cricket player a wee bit. Why don't we hit some balls and see how we go?
Sounds good.
What I'm going to do, Dan, just go down the other end, feed some balls in and around that kind of area, just have a look, and maybe not too many, maybe 10 dozen, something like that, and then we'll have a quick chat about what we see and what we might do about it.
Sounds good.
If anything. Cool. Okay, I'm in at you, buddy. Okay, so I'm just basically observing Dan's movement pre-delivery, at impact, afterwards, and where the ball goes is a good clue for a coach sometimes about where weight is going, where it isn't going. Stop, don't move. Where's your weight now?
On my back foot.
It's on the back foot, and in terms of offside, leg side?
Offside.
Okay, so your weight's on the back foot and you're just going across a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so that was at point of release. Okay, so just be aware of that.
Sure.
That's actually nicely played.
It wasn't too bad in the end, was it?
That's very well bowled.
You might have settled into a nice line here.
That's very, very well bowled. Okay, let's just hold there. Just hold there. We'll round those up. I've had about 3 overs, something like that, first 3 overs. Difficult time, isn't it, when you're starting your innings? Just tell me what I saw there. Is that sort of typical of did you feel, yeah, this is Dan, I've nicked that one, I've played a nice shot there. Is that what I'm seeing on a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, exactly that. I felt like I moved the same way. I feel like that's become consistent.
Okay.
Is that I do feel like I move the same way, and the point that you stopped me on is something that I do.
And what was that point? Just tell me what that was again.
Kind of that initial kind of trigger, and as to where my weight was going, and it was obviously all on the back foot at this point, and it was kind of falling towards, I suppose, short fine leg, wasn't it really, into that kind of slip cord, and which I suppose you'll probably tell me, but then might struggle to get me then kind of coming forward again. I don't know.
Okay. There's some, you know, there's some interesting stuff in there. All of these things. When you are fortunate to work with, you know, the guys at the top of the game, these are exactly the same conversations. Well, no, they are. I mean, people might think differently.
Yeah.
They're not. 90% of work with any batter is about setup and movement. It's you know, it's very, very basic. You know, I'm not going to help Ben Duckett play a reverse sweep in terms of the skill of executing that.
Sure.
That's down to him really, but the basics, the fundamentals, I'll keep an eye on for him. So there was a point that I stopped at the point of release, and you said to me your weight was on the back foot, just headed to kind of backward point.
Yeah.
That kind of, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So that's interesting, because I do see a tendency for your weight to go, if this is a straight line here, then I'm looking, okay, I do see a tendency for weight to go there.
Okay.
The front foot then goes down to stop me falling over. What you talked about, weight transfer, to use your term there, it can't really go back towards the ball because I've stopped it, and so we get this position where the bat comes back into the ball, and you'll see some of your drive. If you hit the ball really well into the offside, I would imagine sometimes it's got a bit of an arc on it, and that's because the bat path is coming across the ball. But we now know why that is. It's because your weight's going that way, and you've got to get back into the line of the ball.
Yeah.
So that's something we can look to perhaps improve, so that your weight's going back towards the bowler. The other thing that I found really interesting, I'm really encouraged by actually, is that the weight was on the back foot, because I think that's a really nice thing to do. Okay, so if you've got weight on your front foot, what's the first thing you've got to do to get forward?
You got to take a step backwards.
You've got to put weight on your back foot to get forwards. Okay, unweighting the front foot is the fancy terminology for it.
Yeah.
But having more weight on the back foot, so it can free my front foot and I can come into that space and dominate. In terms of your weight distribution, bang on, you're absolutely doing that.
Okay.
So that's great.
Nice.
The downside is that it's coming this way. In terms of forward backwards, yes, but in terms of left right or leg side offside, we're going offside a little bit. Realistically, it'd be ideal if you could get your weight on the back foot through the middle, more in the middle of the foot rather than the toes.
Okay, yeah.
So if you can wiggle your toes whilst having weight on the back foot, then I can go wherever I want to from there.
Right, okay.
If I've got weight on my toes, I can't really go back there.
Yeah.
The very best natural players the game's ever seen, 99 out of 100, at the point of release, have got a very much lighter front foot than back foot, because they're coming into that space. People will then say, oh yeah, what if he bowls me a bouncer? Well, I'm planting on the front foot. Well, you're not, right? So what this allows you to do in terms of unweighting the front foot is, my intention is to come into 5 metres. Oh no, it's shorter. I stop and I transfer weight back.
Yeah.
But I do it all in the line.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
So what's the question you got to ask me now?
Probably how do I do it?
How do I do it? It's a good question. I'm going to ask you to start with your feet close together here.
Okay.
Okay, so then then it is as unweighted as you can be.
So basically like this.
Something like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Unbalanced at the moment, but I can see a benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to get the feeling of that, we'll just do some bobble feeds.
Okay.
And this is actually probably even harder in some ways, because you've got to stay still for longer.
Yeah.
Or wait for the ball to get to you before you move. Okay.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Let's try. Come on.
Okay, so we'll just have a few of these. Wait for it. Okay, feet together. Are you unweighted?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I'm falling over though.
Okay, that's why I'm deliberately giving you a chance to fall over. Okay, just stop there. See where your front foot is?
Yeah.
Have you ever got your front foot there?
Not very often, no.
Okay, what does it feel like?
It felt actually really easy, that shot.
Okay, it was a nice shot.
Yeah, which...
I'll tell you what, there's no problem at all with, Dan, is your hand-eye coordination is fantastic. All right, so let's have a very brief chat about those.
The initial point was awkward because it's something that my muscles and my memory are so unused to.
The balance.
Yes,
sorry. Okay.
Yeah, but the actual kind of end result of it was so much better than what I could have thought it would have been, if that makes sense.
Okay, I can see you're excited by that.
I haven't hit through there that strongly and that consistently ever, I don't think.
Your contact generally was really, really good. And something to just be aware of, we're not going to go into this now. When I've hit the ball, what happens next? And what happened next was you didn't move. What's happening after contact is currently, at this level, is terrific. So fundamentally, you're starting to get a feel for what that movement is like for you. Okay, so we do exactly what we just did. The only change is I want you to hit the ball hard into the floor.
Okay, so down into the, okay.
So much so that by the time it gets to the net, I want it going up here. So you've hit it down to go up.
Right, okay. I feel that I'm struggling with this. Oh.
All right, let's just regroup.
Yeah.
Let's concentrate on one thing, bring it back to basic thing. The key thing, the start of the chain, is the balance on the back foot. So if you're in an innings and you've had 10 balls and you're feeling, I feel pretty ropey today. A little thought is basics. What's one thing I can control? Balance. Okay, there we go. I've reset.
Okay.
Don't worry about what you're not doing and what's going badly. What I can control is my balance. Okay, gives you something positive to go back to.
Yeah, sounds good. Oh, I went too early.
That's all right, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, that's just
starting.
But well done. I mean, that's very different to how it was earlier.
Yeah.
All right, so we've hit a few off an underarm feed, and one of the things, I know this from experience, that the very best players do very basic drills, and they do them slowly, and particularly in things like movement and setup. If you've got to wait for the ball, as you have to there, because I'm underarming it at 15 miles an hour or something like that, you've got to wait. That really stress tests your balance. So if it's not quite right, by the time the ball gets to you, it's completely wrong. So this is hard. Given that, how do you think you did?
I think there was an immediate improvement. There was still a little bit of imbalance, but immediately felt more comfortable and more confident.
The key thing here though is this, and this is the beauty of getting your head back to the bowler, is if you get your head back to the bowler, okay, and the ball's on 6 stump, it goes like this, and I can get there. Okay, if my weight's going this way, my foot goes there, well that's great if the ball's on 6 stump every ball. If it's straight, I am stuck, okay. If the ball is even straighter still on leg stump and I'm coming back to the bowler, I tend to get my foot down earlier and get access to the ball that way. We're going to go back to, from the bowling machine now, the unweighted thing, and just see how that works out over 22 yards.
Sounds good. Cool.
Okay, so the session's finished. That's it. We're done.
Chaps. Thanks for watching. See you later. I'm now the greatest batsman in the world. That might be the best shot I've ever played in my life. For a moment, for a split second, I felt like a right-handed Ian Bell. Stop right there. Look at that position you've got into there. Yeah, that's a million times better than what it was at the start of the session, isn't it? That's gold. Because before that, it would have been... 100% it would have been there. It would have been here, wouldn't it? It would have been there. Absolutely. This bloke's a genius. www.philrowe.com. Sessions at £250 an hour cash. Wow. I mean, that's gone in the air, right? But that's the move. You're just slightly early. Yeah. But in terms of the shapes, the movement, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, those last 3 have just been early, haven't they? Oh yeah, mate, we'll work that out. Come on. Come on. Okay, you're moving too well. You can just wait a fraction longer. You've just blocked that for 4. Yeah. This is such a good game. Sport. This just, what a difference. That felt better. Okay, that swung on you. You dealt well with that. It swung on you. 2 to go. Ah, geez, that's beautifully timed for a block. Okay, let's hold it there. It feels like I've made a bit of a breakthrough. Really? Genuinely does. This is not for TV. No, honestly. You know, I can take criticism. No, I genuinely, I can't, by the way. No, it's when you go back upstairs and start crying. Honestly, it feels like it feels like it's made it's going to take some getting used to, yes, of course. And I think the ones that went early there were clearly still getting used to things.
Don't worry about that.
No.
It's the shape of the movement. You can, the timing of your movements will come. Are they the right movements for you? Do they feel appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay, then the timing will just come. What are you got to do? You got to do it a lot. Okay, so we'll call it there.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Is that, if that's all right?
Yeah, of course. Honestly, that's really, really helpful.
Been a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you. Oh, that's great.
Seriously.
Yeah, genuinely.
Because you do look pretty happy.
Honestly, it feels like a bit of a light bulb type thing.